whistle, and after 36 straight defeats, Italy have won in Cardiff. The final score, Wales 21, Italy 22.
There's the kick, and how ironic, you know, Sam Warburton saying the kick chase of the Italians was their Achilles heel. The kick chase of Wales. Capuozzo sets a brilliant try, and that's what it means to the Italians.
And Kieran Crowley at last lets it show. Oh, let them celebrate. They deserve it.
I suppose pre this tournament, every tournament, everyone questions Italy's involvement, whether we need to promote Georgia or someone from that tournament. I think this is a clear example of them having value to the tournament. You can see what it means to them. You know, I've been on losing streaks before, but
what do Italy bring to the Six Nations? Wales 21, Italy 22. That's what they bring.
Wow, what an incredible finish to that test match. And I think, first of all, Michele Campagnaro, huge smile across your face. Congratulations. That was such an incredible way to win it as well. Capuozzo, who scored 2 tries last week against Scotland, and a moment of magic.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say. You know, it's fair play to the boys that they work so hard to get here. I start getting emotional, but
get emotional, man. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Martino Giovanni over there, who's been cheering on Italy for this whole afternoon, not because you're anti-Welsh, but because you were loving the spirit and the passion of the fight you saw for about 60 minutes, and then it just all seemed to dissipate, didn't it?
They seemed to get tired. They didn't really know how to finish the game off. They were a little bit of a liability when they had the ball, and I was saying, well, just kick it. And the energy went out of their game. Wales get ahead, and you think they're not going to have the energy to score a try. But I was saying when he got the ball, oh, what are you doing going right? Because there was a big gap to his left, and then he goes the length.
This is what it means, because this is the first victory in 7 seasons, 36 Six Nations defeats, their first ever win on Welsh soil, Sam. This is an enormous moment for the Six Nations, an enormous moment for Italy.
Oh, it's massive for Italy. And obviously, as a Welshman, every Welshman and every Welsh lady is going to be gutted. But for Italy, it's a massive result. It's amazing for the Six Nations because nobody wants to be the team that breaks that duck of 36 defeats for Italy in a row. But you have to admire the Italian passion. I thought the way they defended off 9, they were so aggressive and physical, they didn't give up, and you did feel, even though they were 6 points behind, you can still win this, believe, and they did. And you know, I think on the whole they deserved the win. They kicked smartly, as Chippy said in commentary, they kicked well for territory, and they stayed in the game. And massive moment for Italy to stay in that arm wrestle and come out on top. Huge moment.
And of course, when Dewey Lake's try was after the try-saving tackle as well from Josh Adams, so they'd have a chance to extend their lead at that point. This, you know, in many ways, the way the scoreline was suddenly going, and it looked like when Wyn Jones was going over, you're thinking this isn't actually a reflection at all of Italy's performance today.
No, but it's how it's been going for them. You thought actually they'd lost their energy a little bit. When Wales
but it could have run away from them, couldn't it? At that
yes,
point?
it could, and they held on in those moments. And I for the life of me didn't see them scoring a try. I thought they'd gone, and I was just blown away when he made that break.
I think, as Sam said, you know, like we stay in the fight until the end. Like what we didn't do probably the last games, and you know, and with some talent like Capuozzo and Ioane, you never know what you can get.
You play in the same league as him at the moment for Grenoble. Yeah. He's at Grenoble, obviously. He's going to Toulouse.
Yeah, and you know, last year was try scorer of the Pro D2. He's been outstanding. So, you know, when you have these kind of guys, they can make it happen, and you know, it's really nice to see.
I know people will be saying, oh, Sam, I bet you don't want relegation now, having a result like this. No, I do. Because imagine this game. I know Wales had 6 points going into the game and it had 0, so they couldn't have swapped over. But if Wales, they only had 5 points or 4 points for whatever reason, that now becomes one of the spectacles of the year, if that happens. So I still think it's a great idea for Six Nations. But Italy, congratulations, fantastic result today and deserved it.
Let's have a little look then at the Capuozzo try. Well, not try, he actually passed it, of course, to Padovani, but the Capuozzo break, of course, which led to the try, and he ignored you, Martin, just as well.
Yeah, good work, because there was a gap to his left, and I thought, go through that hole, and he stepped back. I thought, oh, you've blown it. But, you know, he's an elusive runner. This step here was just fantastic, sensational. And then he's just got the smarts and the composure to put the inside pass, and also the smarts for them to run into the sticks and make the conversion easy.
And then run the clock down, as they did, to make sure it was the very last move of the game.
It's not a bad kick chase from Wales, but I think it's just one missed tackle here. And I think it's great for Italy that, and the last 2 weekends have shown this, that Capuozzo, it's great to have the emergence of someone young and exciting like Wales have had with Reece Samet. Hopefully this can be a poster boy for Italy, and they can just build on this momentum. But it's great to have players who can have massive moments like this.
And also, all 11 stone of him, you know, kind of flying in the face of the idea that you have to be this giant man to play this game.
Well, he backed himself to beat the last defender one-on-one. He backed himself with his step. You know, use your footwork, and again, the composure, the inside pass there. I mean, it just took the breath away from the stadium.
It did. It already, at that point, you could see that the atmosphere had changed anyway, with Italy being in front for such a long period of the game. But that was really a moment, a breathtaking moment. And the Italian fans who are here cannot believe what they have just seen. They would never have thought that the reigning champions, Wales are still the champions. They're still the holders of the Six Nations until this evening's match is over. They, of course, knew they couldn't win the Six Nations, but, you know, that is a moment, isn't it?
You won't realise it, but this is going to be one of the best moments of his whole career. You know, you have significant moments in your career. When you're in this bubble of playing international rugby, you sort of look towards the next week. I hope he enjoys this moment, because that's going to be one of the biggest moments he'll ever experience. It's one of the great all-time Six Nations moments. Not obviously if you're Welsh, but for the game and for Italy for sure. Massive moment for Italy.
They just should have waited to give the man of the match, I think.
No, we're going to hear from the captain, actually. Let's hear his reaction with Sonia.
Many congratulations. Finally, Italy get a win in the Six Nations. Just express the emotions right now.
I don't know, maybe it's just unreal. Like, I couldn't even believe that. Like, I just want to stay with my family. Just want to stay with my teammates and just celebrate with them, because we all really deserve that, and we worked so hard to get here. And obviously, this is just for us our last step in this Six Nation, but the first step of our long process we just started.
Is Angie Capuozzo a little bit of a star?
Yeah, he definitely is. I just posted last day. He is the superstar of our squad, obviously, right now. And that last try was fucking amazing.
It's been 7 years since you won a game in this Six Nations Championship. Just tell me what this means to this Italian team, because there's so much chat being about Italy should no longer be in the Six Nations, and yet here you are, you've beaten Wales away.
Yeah, no, well, I think, right, a game is just a game. Like, you know, it's 80 minutes of rugby, so if you start well, and we started well, you can manage a few moments well, like that last try. We haven't conceded that, otherwise we wouldn't be here to celebrate. So I think just being in the moment till the end is what take us to the win. But the most important thing for us was to concentrate on our process, on what we have to do individually for the whole team. And I think that's the key point that we've done really well.
How do you celebrate tonight?
We're not going to celebrate. Definitely not.
I think you're telling a fib. Many congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Well, he already has with his fruity language, and I think probably understandably, he probably doesn't realise actually what that means. I'm giving him that, I think. Apparently, Michele, Italian for fantastic, is it? But anyway, he obviously is so incredibly proud. You can see it's oozing out of him there that he's captained this side to that historic victory. What is he like as a player, as a captain to play with, Michele Lamaro?
He's he's a really nice guy, and what he does is like he lead by example, but he also a very passionate guy. You know, he can speak really well to the teammates, but he can lead to the rugby pitch as well.
I really like him. Really abrasive player, really good, and he's 23, so he could be around for the next 3 World Cups for Italy. And looking back at the top of the show, we said their average age was 26. So I know it's one win. We're not going to get carried away, but it suddenly puts Italy in a in a good place to move forward and keep that spine of their team to develop.
And do you know what it does as well? What you're alluding to there is obviously this is a team, as we've said before, doing well in the under-20s, coming through, and you wanted to see that breakthrough. And there was that period where they just appeared to not want to win the game, when they were 1 point ahead and they were losing their energy. And we were talking about game management and how you can only get experience from having experience, and who was going to step up and who was going to take control of the game. That is enormous, isn't it, in the kind of fabric of this, the DNA, if you like, of this team.
I think it is, and the good thing is when they next get together, Kieran Crowley, the coach, can say, hey, well done, you won, but you can be a lot better, because that game was there to be taken. Wales never had their intensity until the last 10 minutes, and Italy couldn't put them away. They just didn't seem to know how to finish the game off. So they can get better. They've got a huge amount of improvement in there. They've got some fantastic players. We've seen Capuccio score there. Add that to a bit more fitness, more experience, and they can possibly win more games.
But I think we haven't been in this position so much where in the last 10-15 minutes you still can win it,
yeah.
right? So maybe there was a bit of like the guys didn't believe it so hard, but then
nobody told Capuozzo, did they?
Exactly,
nobody told him that history wasn't on his side.
And now we know, and probably now they know, and hopefully it will be like this for many more times.
Well, we heard Jonathan Davis give Josh Adams man of the match just moments before Capuozzo's incredible break, and look at this beautiful moment where Adams gives it to Capuozzo and he receives that, looking very emotional at the presentation of that to him, and I'm sure Jonathan Davis would endorse that as well if he could have changed his decision. Let's get some Welsh reaction now. Dan Biggar was earning his 100th cap for Wales today. It wasn't to be a victory in the end, though. Let's hear his reaction.
Dan, what are the emotions?
Yeah, well, what do you say? It's probably the toughest interview I've ever had to do. Simply not good enough, Sonia. I don't know where, so many facets of the game, and so poor to lose it from where we haven't played well all day, but to not finish it off, when they're 70 metres from their own line. So we've just said in the tunnel now, it's in the huddle, it's probably last chance for a lot of players up.
This means you're going to be fifth in the Six Nations Championship. On the pitch, when you got 3 tries, were you talking about the fact that if you got the bonus point, you could get as high as third?
Well, I think we're a little bit unlucky on the try. I think Wynne thinks he scored it when it's gone to TMO, so that gets given. Obviously the game's different, but it wasn't, and we're speaking about then trying to get points, and it's just one of those where we probably chase in as high as we could get, and we just from the get-go we weren't quite at it, and you get punished.
Why not?
We just, for what I can't give you a reason, Rouse, Sonia. I don't know what the answer is. Too many boys not quite up to speed. Just not up to speed really. We were second in any loose balls, second in any balls in the air, and just really disappointing that something that we pride ourselves on, that requires no talent and work ethic, we were well short today, and that's got to be looked at very, very closely.
I appreciate your time, Dan, and many congratulations on a significant milestone.
Thanks, Sonia. Thank you.
Well, he always comes up, doesn't he, and speaks very, very well, Dan Biggar. But like he said, Sonia, just at the moment he doesn't have answers. But there will be an inquest into this. We saw pre-match what happened after 2003.
I feel for Dan because he's a Wales great on his 100th cap. He doesn't deserve to go through that personally. But I do wonder, Wales had hit a massive emotional peak in Scotland to draw back that poor loss against Ireland. Then, even though they lost to England and France, where they had to get to emotionally to compete in those games, it's hard to do that 4 weekends in a row. And I just wonder whether Italy were almost like fighting for their life, knowing what everyone was talking about, saying they shouldn't be in the Six Nations. I wonder whether Italy had more to play for than Wales, and they took their chance. But Wales just didn't get to that emotional peak.
I'm not surprised by how Wales have played, because the French game, they nearly beat France last week. They should have beaten France last week. So you come off that game, then everyone's talking about 100th cap, 150th cap, it's the last game. You're flat, and you have to recognise that in the week if you can. We've all been there. We've all been there in games like this and got away with them and not got away with them and got beaten. So I don't think Wales need to pull themselves apart. They didn't play as well as they could. As simple as that. They could have won the game. Wyn Jones is. I thought he was in. It wasn't given. Italy pull off a great try. I mean, when it's, I mean, I'd have given, if I was refereeing, I'd have given that, but he didn't. So you have to come back and
then you're talking bonus point, and as Sonia said there to Dan, you know, it's those fine, tiny margins. This is minutes before the end of the game.
Look at it from that angle, it looks different again. So, yeah. But Dan was right, they were never there from the start. Their intensity wasn't there from the start.
Martin speaks sense in terms of saying, look, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which I think is what you're saying, you know, because those two very, very narrow defeats. But you live here, you know how rugby mad this country is, you know how the press and the media will be discussing and, you know, going deep down into kind of analysing this performance. It won't just be thrown away, will it, in a few columns?
No, like, the thing is with a player, which is where I feel for the players, people can walk away from the stadium, they do whatever they do tonight, they start their day tomorrow and they live their life. But with the Welsh players, it sticks with you. So the next time you put that shirt on.
And it's the last game of the tournament, so you've got a while before you can make amends.
You never forget that game.
No, you don't. And I'll be walking the dog tomorrow. I'd be driving 5 miles up into the mountain to walk on my own, where I don't want to speak to anyone. You know, that's what it's like. I would go to my wife, like, you get the bread and milk tomorrow. I can't even face the shop. So we've all been there as players. You go into hiding. It's a horrible position to be in. So I agree with Martin. I wouldn't go throwing the toys at the pram. Look at the John Davis moment last week. Look at that Wyn Jones moment. Suddenly the Six Nations has turned on its head. But those 5 moments at this level, you have to capitalise on, and Wales didn't.
OK, well, let's get the reaction then of the Wales head coach, Wal V Ita.
Well, Wayne, Dan Biggar just said very bluntly, not good enough by us. Do you agree?
He's 100% on the money, you know. We didn't start the way we wanted to. Discipline wasn't great in that first half. I think we conceded 12 points through ill discipline, so not the way we wanted to start the game. We left a couple of tries out in that first half. We just weren't accurate enough. So, look, to get back in the lead and then to throw it away in that last minute, and we had several opportunities in the 20 to put the game away and get what we wanted out of it, so very, very disappointing.
Italy made life hard, but Dan Biggar just says he can't understand why Wales weren't better today. Can you?
Yeah, well, look, we trained well during the week, you know. Some guys came in, they were fresh. I think we just lacked energy in that first half, and we're going to have to go away and have a look at why that was. Certainly the Italians here came with a lot more enthusiasm than we did, and yeah, so that's very, very disappointing. But that said, we still should have won that game of rugby. The last player of the game, not good enough.
You had made the changes. Are you disappointed that having made the changes you didn't get the reaction that you wanted?
Well, disappointed that we didn't get the reaction we wanted, and the reaction was a good start and a good 80-minute performance, and we didn't get that, so very disappointing. But we'll review that clearly, and we'll go away and make sure that we learn from that, and we learn a lot more about more players. And
finally, from champions to fifth in the table, just what is the sense of frustration?
Yeah, look, it's frustration. I mean, we knew coming in that it was going to be a tough competition this year. That's how it's turned out. You know, we have improved throughout the competition, and today we let ourselves down.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, Wayne Pivac's got, like the players, he's got a few months now, hasn't he, where he can't kind of get everybody back together and try and kind of, you know, put that to bed, go play somebody next week, get a win, get it, you know, it's a horrible, horrible period for the coach as well.
Yeah, you've got to use it though, haven't you? You've got to use it, because often coming off a loss is the biggest motivation you need. You're upset, you're disappointed, it gives everyone an edge. When you're winning and everyone tells you you're great, you can get complacent without it comes up on you subconsciously, and then you need a slap in the face.
I 100% agree, and without trying to turn it on myself, I'm just thinking of an example where I've had this. Say when I got sent off in 2011, it sometimes take a bit of adversity, and this would be in a rugby sense a big bit of adversity for Wales to go through. It takes something like that then. So every day when you wake up and you go to training, you remember it. You know, I'm never ever going to go through that ever again in my career, and it's a bit of motivation that you need. So maybe it's just a little bit of a wake-up call. I'm sure every player will wake up and make sure they never want to experience that, and every player goes through it. You know,
okay,
adversity's good.
Let's just get the flip side of that emotion, and hear now from the Italy coach Kieran Crowley.
Well, Kieran, many congratulations. Just sum up the emotions that must be swirling around you right now.
Oh, you know, yeah, just just really proud. You know, the boys, there's a bit of adversity during the week. We had a bit of sickness in the camp. They were out on their feet in the last 30 minutes, but, you know, they just dug in, and the positive about it was they kept playing, you know, kept believing. Defence was outstanding, you know, so and they stuck at it, and now everyone won't be able to say we've lost 36 in a row or whatever it is, so we're happy about that.
Is there a wee tear in your eye?
There was up there because there was a lot of emotion. I mean, Marius Goosen, our defence coach, 6 years he's been, he hasn't won a Six Nations game, and now he's won one, so there is a lot of emotion, and you'd think we'd won the World Cup, but it's they've got to enjoy this because they're a young crew and they've got to learn how to win, and they've done that today. What
sort of significance will you now put on this game in terms of what this will do for this squad of players?
Oh, we had some measures that we were going to measure ourselves by, not the results, just and this gives us a base going forward now. But one game doesn't make a team. It's we on a plane at 7 o'clock tonight back to Italy. We disband and we come together in summer, and we've got to build on what's happened here today for that, and then into November.
And just finally, Josh Adams, who was man of the match, gave his medal to your fullback, Angie Capuzzo. What a star have you got on your hands?
Yeah, no, Angie played well. He was struggling with cramp in that last 15 minutes, but we'd emptied the bench, so there wasn't much other option. So he just kept his head and he did really well. He's got pace, which you got no substitute for, and so the boys are pretty happy.
A magic moment as is today for Italy. Well done to you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, I'm not sure how well you know Kieran Crowley, but he's keeping his emotions in check there, isn't he?
He's always like that. He hasn't personally coached me, but the guys told me that he's really he never gets too upset when there's the lows, never gets too high when there's some high. So he also brought a very positive environment in camp. Every player is very happy. So I bet he's going to look back and take the positive and moving forward, without getting too much excited about this win.
Yeah, it was funny watching him, wasn't he, from hard-bitten Kiwi from the Taranaki, coaching Italy, but he was happy for them, wasn't he? He was happy for his team and his crew and everyone getting that win.
Well, what an unbelievable performance from Italy, an unbelievable result from them. And, it shows as well, kind of what you can achieve. I think in sport generally, people love the idea of the underdog. But, pre-match, we were talking about the possibility of playoffs, for the bottom side against the top side from the second tier. Does this kind of end that debate for a while, do you think, on Italy?
I don't think it's a personal about Italy. It's what I say about the relegation is for the Six Nations and for Europe. It's for European rugby why I say this. It's not just because I want a mission to get rid of one team. I just think it's better to develop European rugby as a whole. But I think Italy, we look at the signs. Obviously this campaign now has been, with this game, has finished off nicely. But Benetton did well in the URC last year, winning out in South Africa. So the 20s doing well. So suddenly you look over the last 12 months, Italy have had some quite significant moments, which suggests that they are building. So perhaps a bit more patience. But I still think for European rugby, the Six Nations to evolve and rugby to evolve, relegation.
I agree with that. I think you need to give her an opportunity, maybe to Spain, to Georgia, to be, maybe in the Six Nations. But yeah. Well,
we're delighted we could share it with you today. I know, obviously, for Sam a little bit harder, but for Martino Giovanni over there, he enjoyed the afternoon.
Giovanni.
Martin, enjoyed your company through the whole Six Nations. Sam, thank you very much. Enjoy your night if you can, and celebrate a fantastic victory. And this, one of the most iconic moments probably in the last 10 years of Six Nations history. Padovani going over to give Italy an historic victory. From all of us here at the Principale Stadium, thank you for watching our Six Nations coverage, and goodbye.